What's up, guys? This ain't nobody squeaky clean. And as always, I appreciate you for coming to the podcast. I hope you had a great week. It's Saturday, and I wanted to share something with you that actually is a little personal as well, because it has happened to me. You ever notice how life can change with one phone call, one email, one quick meeting, one "we appreciate everything you've done," and suddenly your entire household is sitting there staring at each other like, what do we do now? See, most people talk about a layoff, but nobody talks enough about when both of y'all get hit. And that's happened to us twice. Now the house feels different. The air feels different. The same kitchen y'all used to laugh in, now it's turned into a damn war room. Bills spread everywhere, laptop open, coffee or tea getting cold, both of y'all pretending not to panic. And the scary part, you're trying to stay strong for each other while both of you are secretly terrified. That's a different type of pressure. Because when one person loses a job, usually the other becomes the emotional anchor. But when both people get laid off, ain't no anchor. Y'all both floating. And then reality starts showing up fast. Okay, so how long can we survive? What bills can wait? Do we tell the kids? Do we cancel vacation? Can we still afford this car? If we have savings, should we touch it? And like I said, do we even have that? See, this is where relationships either get stronger or the stress starts exposing cracks nobody wanted to talk about. Because layoffs don't just attack your income, they attack your identity, especially for people who spent their whole lives being providers. Now, suddenly you wake up with nowhere to go. No meetings, no emails, no team notifications, no purpose schedule. And as I've discussed before, people underestimate how mentally dangerous that can be. Because after about 2 weeks, the fear turns into self doubt. Then the self doubt turns into shame. And shame is quiet. Shame has you sitting in the dark scrolling LinkedIn watching everybody else announce promotions while you're trying to figure out how to keep the lights on. In social media, your friends in Aruba, people courtside at NBA games, somebody posting hard work pays off. Meanwhile, you sitting there calculating whether y'all can survive another month without income. The mess will break your spirit if you let it. And then there's the marriage side. Oof. Nobody warns you about that part. Because stress changes people. Now little conversations become arguments. One person says, maybe we should slow spending down. And the other hears, you think it's my fault? One of you says we may need help. And the other hears, we failed. And now, tension in these conversations that used to be normal. And let me say something important here. If both people are hurting, both people need grace, not competition. Let me say that again. If both people are hurting, both people need grace, not competition. Because sometimes couples accidentally turn layoffs into the suffering Olympics. Well, I'm more stressed. Well, my industry is worse. Well, I'm applying more than you are. No. Y'all are on the same team. This isn't husband versus wife. This is both of y'all versus survival. And honestly, some of the strongest couples I've ever seen weren't built during luxury. They were built during uncertainty, during bounce back plans, during we can't afford that right now, during nights where they cried privately so the other person wouldn't worry more. That's where real partnership shows up. Not on vacation pictures, not anniversary posts, not matching pajamas at Christmas. I'm talking about when two people sit in a storm and say, I don't know how we're going to get through this, but we're going to get through this together. That's different. And here's something else nobody tells you. A layoff has a weird way of stripping life down to what actually matters. Because once the title disappears, the status disappears, and the money gets funny, you find out what your relationship is really built on. And for some people, that realization is painful. Because some households were only stable as long as the direct deposit kept hitting. I'm going to say that one more time. Some households were only stable as long as the direct deposit kept hitting. But others discover something powerful. We may be struggling, but we still got each other. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't magically pay bills. Love doesn't pay Dominion Energy. Love doesn't stop your mortgage companies from calling or your landlord from calling. Love doesn't fill the gas tank. But emotional support, that matters more than people realize during survival seasons. Sometimes the greatest thing your spouse can say is, I know this is hard, but I still believe in you. Man, you don't know how much oxygen that gives somebody mentally, especially in a world where layoffs make people feel disposable. And let's be honest, this job market right now, it's not brutal. It sucks. You can apply for 300 jobs and hear nothing. You tailor your resumes, you network with everyone that you know, message recruiters, get ghosted, do 6 interviews, then lose to an internal candidate with no feedback received or sent. So after a while, you start questioning yourself. Am I too old? Am I on some sort of blacklist? Am I overqualified? Am I washed? Does anybody even see my value anymore? That's why couples have to protect each other mentally during seasons like this. Because sometimes your spouse is one rejection email away from mentally collapsing completely. And pride can make it worse, especially for people used to be successful, used to be leading, used to be the top earner, and used to having answers. Now suddenly you're Googling how to stretch groceries for 2 weeks. Life will humble people fast. But I'll end with this. Being laid off is not the same thing as being worthless. Being laid off is not the same thing as being worthless. A company making a financial decision does not erase your value as a human being. And sometimes the hardest seasons produce the strongest versions of people. Not immediately, not magically, but eventually. Sometimes this season forces creativity, forces reinvention, forces people to discover gifts they ignored for years. Some people build businesses after layoffs. Some switch careers. Some finally slow down and reconnect with family. Some discover their whole identity was tied to work and finally begin healing. But in the middle of the storm, none of that feels inspirational. It just feels scary. And if that's where you are right now, I just want you to know this. You're not the only household trying to smile while panicking internally. A lot of people are hurting quietly right now, more than social media will ever show. Just keep moving. One application, one conversation, one opportunity, one day at a time. Because this chapter, it's not the whole story. As I mentioned, my wife and I have been through this multiple times. And the first time you're prepared, you've got your savings, you've been doing the right things, so you can sustain for a little while. So it's fun to reconnect and not worry because the bills will still be paid, at least for a short while. But that second time, we weren't in that space anymore. Savings had already been depleted. So now it's scary because we have no idea how things are going to get taken care of. You got to reach out for help. You got to touch base with companies that assist when you're in a hardship. You've got to start selling things that you don't want to sell if you have that. But more importantly, you've got to figure out how to band together. And it's not easy. There are tons of arguments because everybody's mind floats to the times when you had it and you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Any error or mistake in your past is going to come up at times of hardship because you're in fight or flight mode. That's where the grace comes in. On either side, you've got to give grace. And that's not easy, but it's essential. So if you're in this storm right now or you're about to face this, it's not going to be easy, but it is survivable. Take your time, understand the challenges that you're going to face, understand that sometimes you're going to have hard conversations, you're going to argue, you're going to disagree, but then you're also going to bond. Keep moving and keep surviving for the next moment. I'm pulling for all of us. And as always, this is Ain't Nobody Squeaky Clean. And until next time, I hope you have a blessed day and a blessed week. I will talk to you very, very soon.